Alright, everybody, we are live once again. Don't Know Diaries is going to be page 13. Um, Again, these are always going to be up on YouTube, Spotify, Castbox, here on Facebook here as well. There's going to be a special episode of the podcast today. I recently found out some pretty crazy news. I have a couple notes written down here. So let's just talk about it. First of all, I don't know if you guys have seen like my past 420 episode that I did about Jeffrey Epstein. If not, you can always go and check that out once again. But basically, if you guys don't know the story, I'll just do a little quick recap. Jeffrey Epstein, he was a fucking pedophile, like a motherfucker. So basically, what he did is he owned this island, and in the island, he would invite a whole bunch of famous people, celebrities, political leaders, whatever. He would invite just everybody to the island, and the island was full of like underage girls, and basically it'd just be a whole fuck fest over there of just underage, super illegal. And he invited like presidents, including Donald Trump, to the island, Bill Clinton, Will Smith, Prince Andrew. He also went to the island. And crazy thing about Bill Clinton is that he was actually on Jeffrey Epstein's personal jet, and he went to the island 27 times. And he tries to deny the claims of that going on, but when you fly 27 times with somebody, I'm pretty sure you have an idea of what's going on, especially if you go into the same exact place. Anyways, going forward, so that guy Jeffrey Epstein, he had the island, and then not only was he in on it, but his wife, Ghislaine Maxwell, super pedophile, super trafficker. She was basically in charge of just gathering the girls, and basically what she would do is she would go to like high-end like private schools, and she would just say, hey, she would like stalk all the girls that she was interested in bringing to the island, and she'd basically say, hey, are you interested in modeling? And they'd be like, well, I've never really tried it, but whatever. She's like, well, I can get you a great gig. And anyways, so she brought them to the island, promising like riches and whatever. And I'll actually pull up a picture of her just so you guys know who I'm talking about. But basically, after she brought them to the island, she would introduce them to Jeffrey Epstein. So this is her, this evil bitch. So she would introduce them to Jeffrey, and Jeffrey would basically ask for free massages or whatever. And some girls would be into it, most of them were not. And what's crazy is that the ones that weren't into it, what she would do is basically tell them, okay, that's fine, we're not gonna fuck you, but we'll pay you to go out and like tell your friends about it and bring them here to the island. So she basically hired like she basically hired girls to go out and get more girls to bring to the island. So now she has been arrested, and she is facing charges, or she's she's going to court or something. And the dude right here in the picture, that's Jeffrey. That's the dude who owned the island. And basically, now that she's facing charges, apparently a whole bunch of she has a whole bunch of videos and footage and pictures of like famous people basically who have gone to the island and basically just fucked around over there. Now that brings me to what I wanted to speak to you guys about today. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there was a interview or press conference with Donald Trump, and basically they asked him, if you guys can look up the video, it's probably easy to search up, just YouTube it, but he was asked, what are your feelings on Ghislaine Maxwell? And it's not like he didn't know the bitch, because he's visited the island many times and he's good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. But anyway, so they asked him, what are your feelings on Ghislaine Maxwell? And he said, oh, well, I don't really know the story, but I wish her well. I wish her good. I wish her I wish her the best. Something along those words. He said, I wish her the best. Now, how are you going to be a leader of this country, right, and say some stupid shit like that? Like, this woman has been accused, and not only been accused, she's been proven to have been fucking around with underage girls. She was affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein, which brought her to the island. She was his wife and was in on it. She would bring the girls from the schools and hire all the girls to bring more girls to the island. And you're telling me that you wish her all in good luck. There's just something so stupid about that, because anybody in the right mindset would not wish a person like that the best, especially all he had to say was, he could stick with the whole story of how he hasn't been following the story or whatever, but he could have just said, I hope she's brought to justice. Something simple like that, but instead he wished her the best. And I don't know how long or how much into this you guys are reading into, or how much you're into conspiracy theories, but I'm gonna let you in on my opinion of what I think is going on. So, like I said, Ghislaine has a whole bunch of footage, whole bunch of pictures of these political leaders and famous people who have been to the island. I think she's using that as a blackmail method, because as we get closer to the re-election, if Donald Trump gets re-elected, and by saying that he wishes her good luck, or I wish her well, or the best, that to me seems like a method of telling her, hey, I know what's going on, and if I get reelected, I got your back. You don't have to worry about me. So that's a method I think that he's using, and that any other political leader that's gonna run for election or whatever, any famous person, is basically siding with her because they don't want to be exposed on the things they did on the island. And in my opinion, I think that they went to the island with not bad intentions per se, but I think that they were invited in promise of something else, or in promise of, hey, let's go to this island, and there's going to be parties there, there's going to be, there's going to be entertainment, there's going to be drinks, it's going to have a good time, let's just go. And, that's fine and all. And when they get to the island, they're like, oh shit, there's a whole bunch of underage girls there, and they weren't expecting that. And because, like I said, even Will Smith has gone to the island, and to me, especially with this whole Jada thing going on, it doesn't seem like he's that bad of a guy. And even if he is, then I guess he's putting on a really good disguise or whatever you want to call it. But he, I feel like he went to the island in promise of something else, or maybe like just to see what was going on there. And while he was just sitting with girls, or even just mentioning the like that you went to the island, that puts you in a bad like social standing, I would say. But anyways, so I think that's what's going on. And this whole thing has not just been like recent. This has been going on for like 20 years. And when all this Jeffrey Epstein barely came out, I think he had like he had to pay like 36 girls that he like abused and was sent to the island. And the thing that's even crazier about this whole story is that Jeffrey Epstein apparently committed suicide, which I don't know what you believe, but he ended up going to prison. And basically, when he was at the first prison that he was in, he tried to commit suicide, and then he was put on suicide surveillance or suicide watch, and they apparently like caught him while he was trying to commit suicide. But anyways, after that, he got sent to a different prison, which was supposed to be a little bit better in handling like suicide prisoners or whatever. And as crazy as it may seem, they put him in with this like he was like a corrupt cop, but he was super big, like honestly, he was probably the same size as The Rock, if not even bigger. But let me just pull up a picture of his cellmate. Now, just look at this dude. Like you look at this dude, and he has to have killed somebody at least, if not 2 or 3. But he was put in the same cell as this guy, and what was supposed to happen is there were supposed to be cameras there that were watching Jeffrey while he was in his cell. But the day he committed suicide, apparently the fucking cameras weren't working. And you're like, all right, the cameras weren't working. That happens, right? But along with that, there was supposed to be guards there watching him and keeping an eye on him. And apparently, like, the guards like fell asleep or something, but they just weren't there, and their job was to like be there. So how are you gonna like not do your job, especially with like a high value case like that. But anyway, so he committed suicide. And if you look at the pictures, this is just my speculation. I'm no doctor, obviously. But my speculation is, if you look at the pictures of his suicide, he has this straight line across his neck, and it looks like somebody grabbed like a wire or something. But in the pictures of his cell when he committed suicide, he gathered a whole bunch of those prison jumpsuits, like the orange ones, and he wrapped them all together and supposedly hung himself. And I don't think a piece of cloth that's thick would leave a perfectly straight line across your neck, right? But fine, you're just saying, Luis, that's bullshit, that could happen, but fine, whatever. The other crazy part is that along with that line, that straight ass line, he also happened to have broken his neck. Now, there's this guy who specializes in autopsies, and he worked on the Jeffrey Epstein case, and he said that in all his years of work in autopsies, I don't know how many years, it's been a while, how many he's working on there, but out of all the cases he's seen of like hangings and suicides and things like that, none of them, absolutely none of them, have broken the neck exactly the way he did, under the circumstances that he did even. So what it seems to me is one of two things, right? Either somebody killed him, it might have been that his cellmate, because he looks like he has the ability to kill a fucking grown hippo with his bare hands, but either, yeah, he was killed. I do not believe he committed suicide. Or the second option is he's still alive. Now, you may be telling me that I'm crazy or whatever, but just recently his bank account his bank account opened again and it was being in use. So you tell me who the fuck is using that? It could be Ghislaine, because she was into some weird The crazy thing is too, so after Ghislaine was like caught and they were looking for her, this ballsy bitch, she stayed in the US. She didn't go out anywhere. She stayed here. That's absolutely crazy to me. Like, if you're a fugitive and you know you're gonna be a fugitive and you know you're gonna get fucked, like, why not go somewhere where they have that protection if you've committed a crime, you know? But she decided to stay here, and now she's under arrest. And like I said, the whole bunch of shit is gonna come out. And it's so crazy to me how this isn't like being covered, this isn't being said, because first of all, it's well known that we have a pedophile president, right? I don't know what you believe, but I'm just telling you that straight facts. Besides him visiting the island, he's said so much shit and has done so much shit that it's honestly stupid if you still believe that he has not done any pedophilia. But all that aside, it's crazy how this isn't being brought to light on how Ghislaine has all this dirt on all these political guys, and she's just using that basically as blackmail. I mean, and maybe it's not called blackmail in their world or whatever, but obviously it's being used to kind of lead her way into, I don't think she's going to be free, but into just getting something she wants, because all these presidents and all these famous people have gone there. And her husband's dead, so she has no longer to worry about that. It's all on her own, right? And of course, because she's a woman, she's gonna get treated differently. And if you say she isn't, I call that bullshit. Because if just like, I don't remember if it was months or years, it might have been just last year. I don't know if you guys remember about that shit that was going on with Cardi B, where she drugged up dudes and stole their money after she drugged them up. Now you may tell me, oh, at least she wasn't hurting them, but that's still stealing. And if a dude was doing the exact same thing, no fucking, no hitting, no violence or anything, just stealing money, think of how bad we would have gone after that douchebag, you know? So I think not only because she's a woman, Ghislaine, and not only because she has power, but because she has the fucking instruments, if you will, the fucking information to blackmail all these old white dudes, because most of them are old white dudes. And I don't know what it is about pedophilia and all this sex trafficking going on. And I don't know if you guys know, but now in those Mexican internment camps, the ones where they're holding in all the people that are waiting to be deported or whatever, like so many kids, so many kids have gone missing from those camps, and they don't know where they went. And I guess a lot of those kids have been raped, they've been assaulted, they've been malnourished, they've been mistreated, and none of the security guards there are doing shit about it. And I don't know if you guys remember the video on the dude who was basically dying on the floor. It's pretty graphic. So what happens in the video is this. So let's just say the camera's in the corner of a room, and the dude is like holding his stomach, and he's walking around all limp. And he goes and he covers up in one of those foil blankets. Those shits don't even work. You wrap yourself up in fucking foil and tell me how warm that shit is. That shit don't work. And they're giving these... Anyways. So he wraps himself up in that foil blanket, lays down on the floor, and he stands up after, like... I think the footage... No, it's not even sped up, I don't think. But he just lays down for a little bit because he's feeling like shit, obviously. You could tell by the video. And he gets up, and just around the corner of the room, there's like a bathroom. And you could see him go to the bathroom. Like, you can't, like... And he sits down on the toilet. And as he's trying to get back up from the toilet, he just drops hard, just face plants on the concrete. He face plants, and that's when he died. And I don't know, I think it was like hours before anybody did anything about it. Hours. And there's supposed to be constant surveillance there. So tell me, like, why the fuck are we keeping all these, immigrants locked up in these cages that are waiting to be deported? Like, for what? Like, just send them home. Like, the fucking government is giving away all this money to stupid shit. Like, just send them home if you don't want them here that bad. Like, why are we keeping them in these cages for absolutely no reason other than, for one, sex trafficking is the biggest, like, illegal industry out there, and all these kids have gone missing, and you can't tell me those two aren't fucking related. Now, besides the sex trafficking, a lot of kids are staying here, and their parents are getting sent off. And the kids are supposed to represent themselves in court. Most of them are like 2. Right? When you're 2, you don't even know how to eat by yourself, let alone fucking talk and at least voice your opinion. So these kids are having to represent themselves, and most of them, like, Spanish is their first language. They don't know, they're scared, they don't want to talk to anybody, they're not eating. And I mean, it's not like they have the best food there anyway. I'm sure fucking Jeffrey Epstein was living it better. Because, back to Jeffrey Epstein, when he was first sent to that first prison, and when he paid the 34, 36 girls for the sexual accusations, he was allowed 6 days off from prison. 6 days a week off. He just had to come back 1 day a week. Are you fucking kidding me? There's people out there with marijuana charges who are fucking there for life. And marijuana is starting to become legal everywhere. And everybody's doing it. And it's just like the prohibition, right? During prohibition, I don't know if you guys know what prohibition is, but you guys should start paying attention in school. But anyways, prohibition is when they took away alcohol. Same thing they did with like marijuana, basically. They're taking away alcohol, and crime was like off the charts because everybody was trying to get drunk. Everybody wanted their alcohol. And what ended up happening was a whole bunch of deaths were occurring because people were making their own bootleg alcohol. And they were mixing shit in there that they weren't supposed to. And so many people were getting alcohol poisoning and fucking liver cancer and all this shit. And they were just dying because the government decided to take alcohol away. And they saw that it was a stupid idea when all this crime rate went up. Now, let's say they did decide to legalize marijuana. Think of how much like the crime rate would reduce in regards to like drug trafficking, drug smuggling, and marijuana is becoming more of a recreational drugs than fucking drinking is. I don't get how alcohol is illegal. Sorry, alcohol is legal. Yet it kills so many people every year. Marijuana has proven to kill no one from the effects it has. Yet people get drunk out there on the daily and are causing wrecks, car crashes, and they're fucking causing accidents, and they're fucking getting everybody to do it. There's ads of alcohol everywhere. They make alcohol look delicious, right? And they always tell you, you know,
don't drive drunk. DUI is more expensive than buckling your seatbelt. But it shouldn't be that way in the first place if you're trying to keep these people safe. And they saw that prohibition didn't work. So why the fuck would they think that not legalizing marijuana would work again? And
besides that, when prohibition started, that's when the like the crime rate went up, the deaths went up, and back to the kids in the camps, specifically them, like most of them came here without their will. Like most of them didn't cross their border on their own. Like, why not just let them stay here, you know? Most Mexicans make up, and it's not, I'm not just saying this because I'm Mexican. It's proven. So many studies have been done on it. Mexicans make up like so much of our jobs, right? They take up so many of our jobs. And it's not that we're stealing jobs. It's that we're actually willing to go out there and look for the jobs that nobody wants to fucking do. There is so many homeless people out there, and I'm not here to diss homeless people. Everybody has a rough time. Everybody has their shit going on. I don't know what's going on. But you cannot tell me that there are like freelancers, there are people who at least try to go out and make a couple bucks here and there selling tortillas, selling flowers, whatever it may be, just to make those, I don't know, even if it is $5 a day, that's still $5 that you can provide to your family, right? And now, Trump has said that he does not want Mexicans here because they're, you know, all criminals. but why not just increase like the guidelines that immigrants have to go through to get into this country? Becoming a citizen is so difficult, and honestly, anybody who becomes from any other country is most likely than not trying to make a better life for themselves and their families. Most people that I know and that are immigrants came here with the idea that they were going to make a better version of themselves. They weren't here to fucking blow up the world or whatever. They weren't here to blow up America. They were here just because they saw that America was an excellent opportunity, and it is. I'm not here to diss on this country that we live in because I've been living here, right?
But what you got to understand is that most immigrants that come here, well, at least most immigrants that come here illegally, are here because they're trying to make a better life. And apart from trying to make a better life, they are also trying to become what
they only dreamed of in their origin country. But that isn't what gets covered by the news nowadays. What gets covered by the news is the biggest drug busts and the biggest sex trafficking ring discovered and things like that. Because that makes a better headline in the news than fucking hardworking dad gets a raise at his job or whatever. And honestly, what we need to do is stop limiting people who just want to see better for themselves and who just want to have the opportunity to have a better life. Because lucky for you and lucky for anyone that's listening, you most likely have a better life than most of these immigrants ever will, or most of these immigrants ever dreamed of. Whether it's, whether you're just working a 9 to 5 or a part-time job or whatever it may be, you most likely still have it better than most of these people. Now, apart from that, what I was going back to is like, why are we keeping all these undocumented immigrants, especially children, in these fucking internment camps? You can call them whatever you want to call them. They're fucking internment camps. Hitler did the exact same thing. And anyway, so back to what I was saying about the internment camps. There has been so many missing children, and there has been so many deaths, and there has been so many loss and so many sicknesses. Now because of the whole COVID situation too, so many people are fucking dying there because of that. And like, for what? Like, why do you want all this sick and deaf people in one area instead of just sending them home? If you want them out of the country so bad, like, why not just do it, right? Like, what is the purpose of keeping them in this little locked cage box and saying, oh, hey, we're going to keep you here a little longer, and we're going to keep you here a little longer, and we're going to keep you here a little longer? Like, there's absolutely no reasonable explanation as to why we're keeping them there, other than what I believe is the sex trafficking. Now, back to what I was talking about with Ghislaine. If you guys want to hear more about it, there's a whole documentary on Netflix about Jeffrey Epstein and the island. And I also have
420 episode I did a while back specifically on this issue. And I only wanted to bring it up because this, like I said, Donald Trump said, I wish her the best. Like, what a poor choice of words. And I mean, it's not like the guy has been given the smartest words out because, I mean, he just hasn't. And what ends up happening in these situations
it's pretty much what happens in every. She's more than likely gonna get some jail time reduced at least, and if she doesn't get that, she might just get set free because she has all these dirt on these politicians, and there's not much we can do about it, right? I mean, if the footage ever comes to light, then it'll be a different conversation about what we do in the next process. But other than that, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any solution to this. And a lot of people who decide to hop on social media and talk about this, I don't know if you guys have heard or seen, a lot of these videos get taken down. Now, a lot of people don't want to wear masks because it, violates their rights. But tell me, these social platforms are supposed to be a form of freedom of speech, right? So why does any of that, and keep in mind, Facebook, and this is not diss on Facebook, but they've allowed Death to America ads on their website, yet they're going to take down these posts and these videos that people make about their feelings on the whole pedophile with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, because it's all tied in fucking together. Bill Gates has fucking gone to the island too, and he's like $100 billionaire, $110 I think I saw last time. At some point, like, how much is enough? How much is enough money for you to, like, say, all right, what we're doing is wrong, or what we're doing is incorrect, or at least, like, have some morality, have some ethics, have like just compassion to the fucking human race at this point, because it doesn't just go with like sex trafficking. Now that this whole Black Lives Matter movement has like been happening, there has been so many videos and so much coverage, so much news on primarily black deaths that go unignored.
Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the video
on I don't remember his name and I feel super bad, but there's this guy, this boy, who was in school and then he was found dead, rolled up in some like gym mats, and it was classified as a suicide. Now tell me, how did he commit suicide, then fucking get inside the mats? How did he get inside the mats and happen to kill himself? Because he was beaten to death, right? He had like broken bones, broken ribs. Now tell me, you're telling me that he broke his bones, any bone, literally. You could even break your finger, you could break your hand, you could break your wrist, you could break whatever you want to break. You're telling me he broke his bones, punched his face so bad that it looked like a pulp, then happened to say, oh hey, I'm just gonna go lie down in those mats and die here because I want to commit suicide? How fucking idiotic do you have to be to believe this? And the school has never wanted to show the footage for whatever fucking reason they want to say. They have never shown the footage because they know they fucking made a mistake, and now that it's all coming out to light, they don't know what to do. They don't know what's gonna happen. But let me tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna get fucked because you've been lying to everybody on the stupid shit and stupid mistakes that you've been making all this time and just hiding it away because, I don't know, whether it's racism or whether it's whatever you want to fucking call it. It's still wrong. Like, have some fucking morality, especially when it comes to school and especially when it comes to students. If you're trying to raise and you're trying to make the next generation, why are you gonna fucking hide this shit from everybody? Now, recently that video has come to light. And let me tell you, I'm not the best editor, but that shit is fucking garbage. I don't know what kind of footage or what kind of fucking camera those school have, but it's the most fucking insane piece of shit video I've seen in my life. First of all, there's the dude who apparently committed suicide yet was beaten to a pulp. He was walking and out of nowhere the video cuts and he's fucking hopped like 3 feet. And you're telling me that's perfect footage on why it was considered a suicide. And as that went on in the video, it cuts. Like, first there's kids, and then there's not, and then there's kids, and then there's not, and then there's a kid in the green shirt, and then out of nowhere he's gone and replaced with a kid with a red shirt. Like, what the fuck is going on right there? Like, are you an idiot? Like, how stupid, like, do people think we are? Right? Do these high-standing people think that we are? Like, it's crazy to me how it takes so much effort and so much basically just fighting for our rights to reveal shit like this. And now if this whole Black Lives Matter movement never went on, these cases were probably going to just be brushed to the side. Now you got power, more power to you, black people, because you guys have turned something that has not been done in years in a big, like, in a mass protest. This went on all over the country, even in fucking Canada. Got to fucking Canada. But that's something that anybody who was there, anybody who was protesting, should be and will always be proud of. Because thanks to you, not only did cops get defunded, and that's not a bad thing, because cops have been put in such a high rank in, like, where the funds are coming from. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's a picture of like all the funds of basically categories of funds where all the money the city gets goes to. And guess which one was the first highest or the second highest? The cops. And that's great and all, to protect us, right? But when these protests went on, most of them were peaceful protests. And you're telling me that there's this old man standing in your way and you just have to knock him over for protection reasons, right? Like, that is stupid. You see that this man is bleeding from his head right in front of you and he can't move, and like 50 of you guys just walk right over him. I think that defunding the police is just gonna make them realize of how much power they've had over us. And honestly, in my opinion, how much abuse was happening with that power. And not only abuse, but negligence as well. Like I was mentioning before, that case where the I wish I remembered his name, where the boy was killed and everybody ruled it as a suicide. And the thing that's even crazier about that is the bullies that beat him up, they're one of their dads was in the FBI. And honestly, I understand that everything, you'll do absolutely everything to like go out of your way to make sure your kid doesn't get in trouble. But sometimes, in cases like this especially, your kid has to fucking learn a lesson. You can't go your whole life protecting the kid because he made a mistake. Yeah, he made a mistake and it was a huge one. But you can't just hide evidence from everybody. Especially when it becomes like a murder case like this. Even though it was ruled as a suicide, fuck off. But at some point there has to be a line drawn. Like, I think people are so fed up nowadays that it just exploded. All like the riots that went on, all the even the craziest part of this too was like when all these riots were going on, most of them started as peaceful protests, and then there was just that someone who decided to break a window and go steal shit. And in the videos that we see of people stealing, it was not just black people, I assure you of that. There was so many white people, and it was like they weren't even stealing like clothes or not just anything like that. There was people fucking stealing cake, stealing pizza. Like, I get you have to eat, but are those really the choices you're gonna go to? Like, are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna break a Little Caesars fucking Domino's window just so you can go and fucking cook yourself up a pizza? Fuck off. It was not just black people, and I hate how they're all getting the blame for it. But in the long run, you guys are going to be proud of what you guys have done to change everything, this negligence, this abuse, all of that. Not only have you guys changed the view of the world, but you guys have also changed how we live. Because before all this, most people were scared of the cops. Now, most of them want to just get rid of the cops. They're no longer afraid of the cops. And you should not be afraid of the cops. But sadly, we've come to that point in the society where we see cops as a bad thing when we should actually be looking at them for protection. Right? Now, with all this that's going on, this whole COVID situation, this whole BLM movement, this whole Jeffrey Epstein going, it all sounds horrible, it all sounds bad, it's all bad. But I promise you, without words being spoken and without things being said and without your opinion being heard, nothing is going to change. And we've seen that just recently. And this is just going to go down in history as the generation and the generations before us that actually decided to fucking take a stand and voice our opinion and say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done. A lot of these past generations have been afraid, they've been oppressed, and now I feel like there's so much liberty and freedom to voice our opinions that not only do we have to actually take that as the responsibility to actually do something, but we also have to give that a positive light and actually do something that nobody's ever or hasn't done in a long time. Because instead of using our tools, instead of using social media, instead of using all this access to the internet as a powerful tool to fight and voice our opinions and use our opinions to shape the way we want to see the world, what we do instead is hit dislike on the YouTube videos. Hit write racist comments, write comments on girls' bodies, just go follow all the models. And that's fine. That's totally fine. That's what it's there for, right? But you cannot get mad when something you can change, and it's been proven, especially right now, that this is a powerful tool that can fucking move mountains. And yeah, the internet's gonna be used for entertainment. Yeah, it's gonna be used for all this dumb stuff, and that's fine. That's what it's there for. But don't be those dudes that see everything wrong in the world when you're not willing to change anything about that. Now, I know this has been quite a podcast, but again, people, we have to see the change that we can make, and it is possible. And not just change, we can actually shape things into the way we want to see them. We can provide, we can build, we can do things that nobody's ever dreamed of. It's just about taking that next step, that leap of faith, that jump, that it doesn't matter if you fail. Just because you fail doesn't mean you didn't learn anything from it. And right, you may fail, but guess how many people didn't even fucking try to do what you're doing? Right? You're just that much closer to getting things right. Anyways, thank you for listening, everybody. You guys have been the best. Again, you can always listen to these on YouTube, Spotify, Castbox. These will be on there pretty soon after this. Thank you all for listening to my rant, and I hope you guys have learned something new, and I hope you guys have taken 2 or 3 words of wisdom and applied that to your own life. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.